Thank you. Hey, guys. Hey, guys. Come on now. We are here Saturday morning. I know there's a lot of things you can do. Some of you sacrifice your morning workout, playing tennis, lifting weights. There's a lot of things you could have been done this morning, right? Now we're going to lift a different weight this morning. Amen? I want to thank you for all of you to be here. I see we have some young people here, which is a good thing because when we're talking about finance, sometimes people said, that's what my Shiloh said, my little one. But they just don't understand. There's something about finance that can really drag you, right? If you don't manage it properly, it will manage you. Whatever you mismanage will manage you. It will dominate you. When you say financial dominion, we're not talking about having our finance have dominion over us, but we're talking about we have dominion over our finances. So this morning, I want you, if you don't have a handout, make sure you get one. We prepared some handout for you this morning, so you can be, you can follow along with us. We're gonna have the slides up there, and then you can follow with your handout and have something to take home with you this morning. So, and it's always good to have our bishop here, my bishop. If I'm where I am today, it's because he didn't listen to me. He pushes me. When I didn't want to do certain things, he made sure I did it. And I was like his right hand to learn a lot from him. So I'm here. If you see me preach, somebody told me a couple of weeks ago, I remind him of Bishop when I was preaching. I'm like, what? I mean, duh. Right? I mean, duh. Where did I get it from? So. But we always got to have our bishop. He's our biggest supporter, our founder, so we thank him this morning. And thanking all of you for being here this morning. So let's just get started this morning about financial dominion. And just before I get started, just a little bit about me. I've been involved in finance since I got out of high school, basically. I remember my first job was at the bank. I got my finance degree. I got my business degree and minor in finance. But little did I know, my whole career was going toward finance, from being an accountant, financial analyst, to having my own finance practice, manage nursing home. $18 million budget. That's a lot to manage to make sure you profit, because it's not because you bring a lot of money doesn't mean you're going to profit, right? So that gave me the opportunity to deal with people who have a different mindset than I do. So that's why this morning, our first objective this morning, the next slide, I don't know if you guys have the slides ready. We can go about the objective. So our first objective this morning is going to be about sharing and develop some insight with you to help you change your mindset. Because finance is about mindset. Creating wealth is about mindset. So Pastor Ashley is going to come later. He's going to get you into the details about some investment, things that you can do, more practical things. But I think if God was to provide $1 million for you right now, if you don't know how to manage it, if you don't have the right mindset, it means nothing. Or if you create something, you have a good job, you bring money, you have income, without the right mindset, you can't survive. Because having a finance mindset is not just thinking about now, but about future income. So how do you get to a point where you can say, okay, let me have a mindset to be disciplined? So that's what we want to talk about this. The first objective is to really share with you about changing your mindset about money. Also, share some steps to achieve it. And I think one time I had the opportunity to meet with a billionaire, because I was running a building, a nursing home, and he stopped by, and I went home for lunch. He missed me. I wasn't there. So I got a call in the evening, and I'm like, when I heard his voice, he said, "Hey, Mr. Preston." I'm like, "Hi." I was like shocked. I'm like, okay. He stopped by. I didn't see him. Then he called me, and I'm like, whoa, what's going on? But come to find out, within a few days, he booked me a flight to go see him in Tennessee. And the building is close to the Church of God headquarters. It's on Keith Street, like not even half a mile, Bishop. Keith Street. So I remember from there, I walked to the Church of God headquarters because it's so close. But what I've learned is that when people have money, they are always wanting to learn more. They're not just satisfied to say, oh, okay, I already have money, I'm there. But no, they always want to learn more. They don't mind asking you a question. They don't mind picking your brain to know what you know because they want to add more to it. In fact, people who's wealthy, they spend a lot of time reading. They read so many books a month. They use their time to invest in themselves, and they're not afraid to spend money. They spend money. So we'll talk about budget later on. We'll find out we have to control our spending, but it's what you spend it on. They spend money to help them grow, to increase their wealth. So when I spent a little time with him, not only I was coming in late, he went to pick me up at the airport. That's a billionaire. He didn't have to do that. He picked me up at the airport, and then he dropped me back at the airport when I was leaving. That's priority. That's how you see they treat you, because they value something from you. So that really taught me a whole lot about the mindset of a billionaire. Sometimes you think they just put people down, but people who really know how to create wealth, they know how to use other people's knowledge to create wealth. So that's why I want to talk to you this morning about, but the first question I want to ask you, why is money important? Why is it important? Okay, let's get the next slide. Why is money really important? Lee Jenkins said, lacking money can cause you to love it more than you possess it. When you are living paycheck to paycheck, when it's so hard, you become so stingy. You become like, money becomes so important to you because you don't have enough of it. So that's why you need to have financial dominion so you can have enough of it where it's not becoming a god. Sometimes the church asking for money or you want to invest in certain things, but because you're so lacking it, then you become so like you love it so much. You're trying to hold on to it, then realizing releasing it for God to do more with you. But if you have plenty of it, guess what? You're not going to really so cling to because you have enough of it. So that's the first thing we're going to talk about. Why is money important? But the question I want to ask each one of you this morning, what do you think financial freedom means to you? Anybody want to share? What is financial freedom really? Yeah, nice. Yeah. Is it the same for somebody else? No. Right? So it's not the amount, right? To give, to do what you want. To do what you want. So if you look at the definition of financial freedom, let's put the definition real quick. It says having enough money to make decisions or choices you want to make. I want to give $1 million. I have the freedom to. It's not how much do I really want to have, but do I have enough to have freedom to make decisions? Because I might need $500,000 to have financial freedom. For me, I might say, $500,000, if I have that, oh my God, I'm just rich, and I can do whatever I want to do. And also depend on what do you envision your future to look like? How do you want to live in the future? Is that going to be enough to sustain you for the next 10, 15, 20 years? Is it enough to carry your family? Is it enough to build a legacy? Right? So it's having enough money to make decisions. Because we make decisions every single day. I feel like I want to go somewhere. Tomorrow I can say, honey, let's go and pack up. I'm going to call and book a flight tomorrow. Let's go do it. Let's just make that decision without it hurting me financially. All right? So that's the first thing I want you to have a mindset about. It's not how much money really you need for financial freedom. It's just to be able to make decisions that can help you, all right? Because financial freedom doesn't necessarily mean you're filthy rich or you have unlimited amount of money, but it's about having control over your finances. That's the first thing we want to talk about today. Then let's talk about dominion. We say we're here for financial dominion. So when you look at the word dominion, it means power, authority, ownership, control, right? You're having control over things. But the one I like is the possessing of property. Because possessing a property can help create future income for you, right? So that's one thing about investing. You need to have property. You need to be able to create wealth. When you say possess the land, possession of things that to enlarge your territory. So possession of property is very important. So when we say financial dominion, we want to be able to possess things, not liabilities mostly, but we want to possess properties that can create income and those kind of things. So that's financial dominion. One thing we realize, a lot of them, we men here, and by the way, isn't it beautiful when men get together and worship? I mean, for me, I know it's only guys in here. I can say it. I personally believe that God takes more pleasure when men worship. I might be biased, but there's nobody else here. But I believe God takes more pleasure when men worship because he created us in his image, right? And he said, God is our head, and we are the head of what? Of the woman, right? But when he's our head, he's directly our head. So when we bring him worship, this is beautiful, man. This is beautiful. So, but one thing about us, like, man, like, most of us, we're afraid to talk about our personal finances because we don't know where to begin. That's one of the reasons why we don't talk about our personal finances. We might think you don't have enough, or you're not frugal, or you're not doing the right thing. So we have that fear to talk about it. And you cannot fear to talk about it because if not, your finance is going to dominate you because you need to put it out in the open. You need to put everything on a piece of paper and say, hey, this is what it is. You need to be upfront about it. Be transparent about it. When you're transparent, then you can attack it head on. So, but the thing is, don't worry, we are not alone. All of us here, we have that fear and that's what we're going to talk more about it. What you don't know, you don't want to talk about. People who don't know about politics, they say, oh, I don't do politics. Or if they know about God, they say, I don't talk about religion because they don't feel like they have enough to articulate, right? But when you know you can articulate, you're not afraid to talk about it. And it's the same about your finances. If you know what to do, you're not going to be afraid. So this morning, just the first step is overcome your fear. Why? Because when you put God first on everything, you know you're not alone. Deuteronomy 8:18 says, the next slide, it says, and it shall remember the Lord your God, for it is he who gives you the power to get what? Wealth. Wealth is more than just a paycheck. It's more than just your bank account. It's just more than money. It's wealth. It's more than all these things combined together, your properties, everything is your wealth. He gives you the power to create wealth, and that so he may establish his covenant which he swore with your fathers. So I'm not going to be afraid to talk about it because I know where the source is. I know if I put God first, then he's going to establish me. And if he's going to establish me, I just need to know what I need to do so I can be able to gather all these things. And that's why I start with the mindset. We got to have our mind in the right place to be able to do that. So the first thing let's talk about this for a minute. To acquire wealth and to maintain wealth, you got to have a specific lifestyle. That's the difference between the people who have it or who do not have it. You've got to have a lifestyle. It says people who have millions are often more sparing. We call them stingy people. But we don't understand. They just know what they're going to spend their money on or what they won't spend it on. If it's not going to help bring any values, they always think about that. What value do I get out of something before I put my money into it? If you are a consultant, you can bring some value, educate me, I'll pay. These people pay to go to big seminars to learn how to create more wealth. They know where to spend their money. So we said it's stingy. They might not care about buying a $400 Jordan pair of shoes. They don't care about a $400 Jordan because it's not creating wealth for them. So that's why we said it's stingy. They are more sparing than those who don't. Not wasting all your money at once is the key to becoming rich. It's not how much money you get. It's not wasting it. It's manage what you have. So rich people, wealthy people understand this. So those who are lavish, they are those who inherit their wealth and they spend it based on Hollywood standard. If you inherit your wealth, your kids, they just never have to work for anything. They inherit it. Guess what? They're going to spend it because they have no idea what it took to get that. Or people who happen to have wealth by accident. But you find people who are self-made, who build from the ground up, they do not live lavishly. They don't. I mean, we talk about, there are certain people that have their routine. I mean, till today, you find out Warren Buffett still have his McDonald's exact change. He go to McDonald's. And that's talking about a billionaire who's was one of the richest person in the world. They build certain habits. If you cannot have habits in the small little things to know I'm spending on my breakfast this X amount of money, you're not going to have a habit when you have millions because you're going to blow more because you have more money. So you got to build those habits early on to help you. So there's specific lifestyle they create that's different. They don't always live in the most wealthy neighborhood. Did you know that? People, and we call them, there are two different classes of people. There's the class of people who are high income, low net worth. The high income, but their net worth is low, which means they have high salaries, but the net worth is low because they spend almost everything, but they have low net worth. But you have people who have high income and high net worth. You want to have high net worth because your net worth is what's producing future income. You guys with me? So don't be, some people, they have high income, they feel like they have to buy $1 million house because they can afford the monthly payment. But because you can afford it doesn't mean you should go buy it. What are you investing in your future? Right? What are you investing to bring future revenue? Because if you don't have that income anymore, what happened? So those people, they go in big neighborhood, they live lavish in a big neighborhood, big cars, bling bling, they have high income. But if you were to check your net worth, nothing. Right? Nothing. So that's the difference. So the first thing we need to do when we talk about creating wealth, step one is you need to find a way to raise your income. You got to find ways to raise your income, either multiple stream of income. If what you're doing right now, look at it. Am I, because sometimes your bank account reflects how you spend your time, how you invest your time, right? So do you have extra time maybe to create an extra income? Or what do you do with the extra time? So you got to find ways to raise your income. The first thing you need to do is assess your current situation by evaluating your income, your saving, and your debt. I think the first place you have to start right now when you leave here. Assess your current situation. Say, okay, let me evaluate my income. And my income, do I have enough I put for saving? Do I put 10% aside for saving or X amount for saving or investment? Okay, and how's my debt? Is my debt weighing me down? Am I paying too much high interest where I can't keep up building my saving because I'm paying too much on debt from my income? So you got to assess these things first. Then you're going to set goals. What do I want to achieve? Because if I'm going to say I'm going to raise my income, what do I want to achieve? What lifestyle do I want to be in? So I have to set goals. If you don't set the goals, then you fail to plan. You know the saying, right? If you don't plan, you fail to what? If you fail to plan, you plan to fail. So the goals is what's going to help you, because without those goals, you won't be able to know I'm working towards something. Because it's easy to have an objective. The objective is what? That's the broader idea. The objective is I want to have financial dominion. We can walk out of here and say, I'm going to have financial dominion. That's just an objective. But you need to have goals. The goals are the steps you put to achieve that objective, right? You got an objective, but you got to set goals. We're gonna have an event here, okay? What are we doing? We have meeting about this conference we're doing right now to know, okay, what's the steps? What's we're gonna do? What we're gonna do? What we're gonna do? We're gonna say we're gonna have a seminar, but what is it gonna be about? What are we gonna put? What are we gonna do? So this is the goal to help you achieve it. That's how you're gonna succeed. Most of us, we men dreaming, because we stay in the objective, but we don't have goals to get there. But to raise your income, you got to learn to make yourself valuable. Wealthy people, they're constantly making themselves valuable. Are you marketable? That's the key. Wealth is created when there's an exchange. If I say, Naz, if I'm going to do business with you, I don't just give you my money. There have to be an exchange. That's how money is earned. So if you don't have anything in value to give me, I'm not going to give you my money. And wealthy people, they don't just hand their money like this. Because you are doing business with people who have money, right? They don't have to be wealthy, but they have something that you need. So you got to be able to make yourself marketable, valuable. And it pains me when I see people who are doing certain jobs and they're so mediocre at it. They're just doing jobs. They don't try to be better, to try to educate themselves, but they just stay mediocre. But they expect, people, you got to get my service. Yeah, I know, dude. But I'm sorry, I don't see the value, right? I can go to Pastor Jackson, I can get it, even though I pay a little bit more, but I get value out of it. A lot of people will pay more money to get value versus to just get something, because you get it now will I be able to go back to you next time again? We see how things happen. Innovation is what our society right now is going through innovation. What used to work 10 years ago, it's not working the same way anymore. So how do you keep yourself marketable to be able to keep earning? Because the same job you have today, the same salary would not sustain you next year. Everything goes up and your salary do not increase. What happened? So that means you're already on a pitfall today for next year. So what are you doing to really add more income? Is it just your job that's going to give you a 2% raise? Or you're going to do something to make sure you ahead of what's coming next year? Every business, the budget at least 5% increase on their expenses for the following year budget. I mean, that's automatic because you have to expect inflation. You have to expect things going to happen. So what are you doing to make yourself valuable? Are you guys with me? It doesn't matter how old and how young you are. My son just had a race. He went first place track. We celebrate, and then when I got home, I give him a speech. The speech is about, okay, you did 55 seconds. How are you going to get to 50 seconds next time? We talk about it. Somebody's going to be better than you. The same person you beat now, maybe a year from now, you're not going to beat them again. So what are you doing to make yourself more valuable, more marketable, to increase, to change? But if you feel comfortable in your success and say, oh yeah, I'm paying the bills today, but next year you're in debt. So how is it help you? If one thing I want you to take away is this, remember, every year things are going to change. So you have to be ahead of the game all the time. All right? So how do you do that, Pastor? You say, how do you do that? Well, you got to know the difference. I love Miles Monroe when he talks about knowing your work. You know, a lot of time, Monroe said, your job is what you were paid to do. Your work is what you were born to do. Sometimes we don't understand there's a difference between your job, you go to work every day, versus your work. Your work is not the same. Yeah, you say, I go to work. It's not the same thing. Because when you go to work, you are offering something. You are offering your gift. You are offering your talent or something you have of value. That's why you get that paycheck. When I said there's an exchange that takes place. Right? And even with that, I remember one time I talked to one of my employees and I asked a question. I said, would I hire you today for what I hired you 10 years ago? If you were to come to me today, would I hire you for that same job today? Many people can say, oh yeah, I've been in the job for 20, 25, 30 years. But I said, will I hire you today for the need of the business today? Did you improve? Did you get better in your craft? For me to say you're so valuable. It's not how long you've been doing it, but are you more valuable today to meet the current needs? You see what I'm talking about mindset, guys? It's not about finance, it's more about let's go make the money. Let's go make that money. But it's about the mindset to say, okay, am I more valuable? You have to constantly read. You have to constantly sharpen your tools. I mean, I've been so busy, but you know, I find ways. Like, I find new ways. My newest way right now is I use an app called Headway. Headway is like, he helped me. I can get a book summary within 15 minutes. I can drive to work, and within 15, 30 minutes, I can have a summary of a book as I'm driving to audio in my head. You see what I'm saying? But you got to have ways. It is about finance, about Christianity, no matter what it is. And I classify the interest, what I'm interested in. So I got a whole classification in my library I can pick. So you got to find ways. No matter how busy you are, technology is so advanced now to be able to do a lot of things. But if you waste your time today, guess what? Your work. And he said, if you are not happy with what you're doing, then it's only a job. Because your work gives you purpose. You might make the money, but you're so bitter every day and you're grumpy. Guess what? You're going to lose your job without this attitude. You're not happy. Your boss can see it. They don't see you just want to be there. And it's not a bad thing. Maybe it's because you need to find what makes you happy. But you got to be able to know your work. What's my gift? What do I have to offer? So then that's going to help increase your income and be able to help you bring more income. Because every one of us, we have something that is so valuable. To raise your income, you need to understand the difference between your job and your work. You were created for more than that. For more than that. God gave Adam the garden. He wasn't just doing one thing. He was doing multiple things in the garden. Multiple stream of income. You can have multiple things. No matter how busy you are, you can have something work for you. A few years ago, I took a break from my administrator job, and within that little time, I got my real estate license. I'm not wasting, after you're home for a couple weeks, yeah, I'm good, but I can't just stay like not doing something. I just add something. That license, yesterday I closed on the deal. And I'm still doing other things. And the good thing is, I find a broker where I can just pay them $500. They take care of everything for me, even emailing the client, having the document signed, everything. They just manage the whole thing. Basically, it's just like, I make it easy for me, but you can still find ways to create, right? But always keep making yourself valuable. Because I didn't want to do it mediocre because I don't have time. So I acquired that service so I can keep staying relevant. But that's a lot of time we don't look at different ways to bring in extra income. But if you think about it, we each have something different about us. God created you so unique. There's something you'd have somebody else need. Every one of you. Somebody needed. Your gift will give you influence. I like this. Proverbs 18:16 says, a man's gift make room for him. Did you grasp this? Your gift will make room for you. So what gift did God give you today? Your mindset. You got to think about it. What gift God give you that's going to make room for you? It means that the person gift can help them get noticed, gain attention of important people. Because you need to gain attention. You need to be able to network, and we'll talk about that later. But that's so important. Your gift will make room for you. That's just the word. Step 2, not only you need to increase your income, but to achieve financial dominion, but you need to be able to be frugal about handling money. So we'll talk about the different ways you can increase your income, changing your mindset, make yourself valuable. But when you do all that and you start having income, what do you do? Or where you are right now, when you do an assessment of yourself right now, your income, your saving, your debt, when you do that assessment, how frugal are you about handling what you already have? Did you know that even the average people can create wealth? I'll show you a calculation in a minute, but the average people can create wealth. He said to practice frugality, you need two things, budgeting and planning. You budget and you plan for the future. You cannot just live every day not planning for the future. Like I said, you plan for future income, even future expenses that might arise. My son just went to college, but thank God we had a prepaid college that was done since he was born in 2004. So now, that's taken care of, right? Because it costs more money today than it was 20 years ago for college, right? But you prepay it back then today, it's a fraction. Guess what? How much saving is that? I wouldn't have to pocket out, right? Certain things. So that's planning is very important, even for tax purposes. Rich people, they plan even for tax purposes. They plan for that. And we complain, oh, they don't pay taxes. You can complain all you want. But guess what? They're not paying it because they plan for it. They set up their business in a way to strategize so they don't even give extra. You can pay taxes if you want to pay it, but they're not paying it because this is planning. It's not an accident. It's planning. Budgeting and planning. So when you budget, what you do, you create a framework for your household expense based on your current income. You say, okay, this is what I'm making right now. I'm bringing $5,000 out a month. I'm creating that framework. The framework is a spending plan. It's a spending plan, right? I'm creating that framework. This is my income. If I take my savings out, everything else, am I going to live in the 80%? Most of us live 110%. Well, we're behind. Yeah. Yeah. Take notes, because after me, we're going to take a break, then he's going to come, then we're going to have one session where we take questions, all right? To make it a lot easier so we're not spending too much time, all right? So I'm giving a lot of information. That's why I give you the handout. If you want to ask questions, everything is right here. You can just take notes, all right? So you need two frameworks. The first framework is the framework based on your current income. The second framework is for your household expense based on your ideal lifestyle. The second framework is so important because many of you trying to live your ideal lifestyle based on your current income. You see why we see the pitfall? But if you create that framework, you say, this is what I envision. This is my ideal lifestyle. Then it helps you to help build that saving, everything else, so you can plan for it, right? Because there are times you're going to be tempted. Big deal coming on. Oh, honey, let's go get this. Yeah, we got extra money. Let's get it. But what is it for your ideal lifestyle that you envision for 5-10 years from now, or is it because your current income can't support it? So then we fall into a trap. So that's why it's so important to have that two framework. Then you can say, you remind yourself, I can't. I got a call last week about something. Man, it looks so good. It's a product I'm already using at the house, and it's a diffuser. It's help keep your house purify everything else, right? Smell good and everything. My wife love it. We love it. But there's one that can connect your whole house. The deal they give me is so like you can't resist. And I learned the phrase, let me talk to my wife first. So I can end the conversation. Sometimes you feel like you're just so strapped. Your wife can bail you out. I'm calling you back. That way I can just think about it. Because if not, you're going to be impulsively make that decision, and later you realize, although it's affordable, less than I would have been paid, but can I really put it right now? You see what I'm saying? But if you don't understand your ideal lifestyle versus your current lifestyle, then you're not going to be able to make the difference. So that's why we have to be able to plan ahead of time. So he sent me an email with the whole thing. I haven't talked to my wife about it, by the way. But it was like a getting out of jail card kind of thing. I was trapped. So that's what we need, the two framework, all right? This is the next slide. Let's get to the next slide about investing. If you look at this slide, the S&P 500 have an average rate of return 10 to 12%, about 10% a year, from 1950 something. That's the average, right? Average. So you can assume the next 30 years can be at least keeping that momentum because it's been for 70 plus years. So if we say that's the average, is this. If you put $500, investing an initial amount of $500 with a regular contribution of $500 per month could worth $1.48 million after 30 years with a 10%. Look at the graph. But here's the best part. Your total investment of that $1,048,000, the best part is $180,000. It's what you contribute over the 30 years. Compound interest is very powerful. Your return is going to be $861,881 by putting $180,000. Compound interest. You get an interest, then you earn interest on the interest. And then an interest, imagine every month for 30 years. So can you reach $1 million if you started 20 years ago? Can your kids, young people here, if you think like this, right? What's your mindset? Pay an extra $500 a month in the car, or you can say, you know what, I want to invest it, I want $1 million. So that is very important. That is very, very important. When you see those numbers, black and white, does it make you think differently? I can put $180,000 in 30 years, and it will put over $1 million. So isn't that going to give you $1 million? Can you be a millionaire? Can the average person be a millionaire? Yes. But you cannot be a millionaire just by the regular. You got to invest. The investment, creating future income. What that show you is the future income you're generating. So are you thinking about your retirement? You don't know about Social Security and Medicare. This is not for sure. But you're building your nest eggs to say, okay, I'm going to do it. What do I need to cut? And we'll talk more about that. The next slide is about having a steady diet. The word steady diet, that's a new word now that executive use. They don't say a budget, a spending plan. They use steady diet. Right? How's your diet? How's your financial diet? Instead of saying, well, we can't stop spending diet, we say, yeah, we're in a steady diet right now. We got to kind of watch, in a steady diet. Okay, what's a steady diet? It's the same thing as having a spending plan. Like, it's still budgeting to make sure I cannot afford it. It's not healthy. It's not healthy for my finances. You got to know what's not healthy for your finances. To have a steady diet, you got to save and invest, build an emergency fund, and invest for the future. We'll talk a lot about this. Pay off debt, credit card in full, or pay off strategically. You got to be strategic. Find somebody to help you to look at everything, your credit card, your debt, to say, you're going to pay this one first, pay the high interest one first. If you have good credit, are you going to take a zero interest debt credit card and bring everything to it so you can pay it with no interest? There's different strategy you can use. Get somebody to help you, because most of your money is going to go to the back door in 25, 30% interest. Or certain loans, certain thing you have, it's killing you because it's not helping you put that extra $500 aside. You see that? So you're burning it because you're not putting extra aside. Live within your means. Avoid overspending and maintain a healthy lifestyle. Make necessary cuts. When you assess your situation, what cut are you willing to make? Sometimes it's not about how you feel. It's just a cut has to be made. Otherwise, you're going to be the one drowning that you can't talk about your finances because it's so ugly. I remember we had moved to Homestead 2010, 11, I remember. And that's why it's so important to know what's important to you. If you know what's important to you, what you want to spend money on, what you don't want to spend money on, it's going to be easy when you have to make cuts. I remember we moved to Homestead, and we were going about within that year. I remember we had to go pay the kids' school. I was the only one working. I look at our finances. I told my wife, we're going to return the GMC Acadia. I called the bank to pick it up. Because if I don't do that, we're going to drag ourselves further. Then we're going to sacrifice their education. And we always pay for the private school. So I said, this is important. We can't. This is important. We can't. This was almost $600 a month payment. I still got my car. Those of you who know my Grand Marquis, I kept the Grand Marquis and returned the Acadia. I didn't care. Because you have to make a decision. Because it's going to weigh you down. The extra $500+ is going to weigh us down. Do I want to live comfortable or I want to keep it? A lot of people don't even know, even in the church, they don't even know about it. Because I was going back and forth. 3 years later, we bought a newer one with lower payment, better interest rate. Call the bank. Remember, they sent a tow truck to pick it up. I didn't feel shame about it. I'm the one who said, come pick it up. Before they have to drag it out for me. Right? So these are the things that when you say make necessary cuts, you have to be able to make those cuts because it's not for today, it's for the future. Because you're trying to preserve the future. So that is very important. One key fact about needs. You got the slide up about needs. Your needs, you will never run out of needs. Have you ever run out of needs? There will always be a need. You will never run out of needs. Extra income come, you're going to see the extra needs. Because the more your income rises, so will your needs. So you have to be able to know you will never run out of needs. That's why you have to be able to have that steady diet to be able to control, because the needs always going to come. A bill you didn't expect to, medical bill, accident, something happened. Man, that's why you need to have that extra. So when those extra needs come, it won't throw you off track on your budget because you had that saving, right, to help take care of that. Then you don't have to really be reacting. Then you're behind. I had a conversation with my employees last week. Actually, she was crying and calling HR. Somehow there was something about a payroll. She get overpaid, almost $2,000. And the next paycheck they take it, and she's complaining, I'm about to be evicted. I said, no, you weren't. I said, that's not why. I said, what did you do with that extra income when you came to your bank? You were already in a situation before. That delayed the inevitable. You were about to get evicted, but that delayed the inevitable because you were already in a situation before. That extra need come, but you got that income. That wasn't yours. You know they're going to take it back. Oh, I thought they were going to take it in pieces. You didn't get it in pieces. You get it a lump sum in your paycheck. You know? All of a sudden, what do you mean? In pieces? That wasn't a loan payment, right? Yeah. Oh, I can't come to work. I can't afford. I said, well, you're going to dig a bigger hole. Now you're not working. So how are you going to, what I'm saying? So it's like her mindset's like, oh, maybe I can't come to work. Okay, is that helping your future? You're already in a hole, but you're not working now, right? So that's why the mindset is very important. You never run out of need. The last thing I want to share with you, to have financial dominion, you have to be able to make connection. Connection. Sometimes if you see your net worth, it could be correlated to your network. Who's around you? Who do you hang with? Are you the high and everybody here? Or are you trying to get with people who know more than you? People who can challenge you, who can influence you, who can motivate you, hold you accountable? Your network will dictate your net worth. If you with a lot of people, you talk about the millionaire, a lot of them, they say, you know what, I'm a million, but I need to be how to make billions. And they pay to have lunch with Warren Buffett, with Elon Musk, Jeff Bezos. They pay to have lunch for this. They pay to have lunch with these people. Show me how you do it. Jay-Z did that. He met with, They say, I want to be from million to billions. I'm not going to do it without having the mindset. That's why I say it's about mindset. The first session about your mindset. If you don't have the mindset, you cannot get financial dominion. To know how they do it, then you're going to say, you know what? This is what I need to cut. That's the habit I need to build. I need to change the way I do things so I can be able to speak anytime about certain things. I'll be able to invest. I can be able to, I know what I need to do to be there. Because if you stay here for 2-3 years, you're not growing. Then your wealth going to be diminishing. Because if you're not increasing it, higher cost of living, everything going to suck it out. You got to have future income. So you got to be able to connect with people, equip you, you expand your group of friends. I'm not saying you go right now, live this. Pastor K said, I can't talk to y'all anymore. That's not what I'm saying. I'm saying you're going to maybe you need new friends and expand your group of friends. Because certain wealth, you got to maybe make friends with wealthy people. How many people is wealthy that's your friends? I met a gentleman where I'm now, and he's big on a lot of real estate investments. He's about 85, 90 years old. And we talk for like 5 minutes. I'm like, man, I got to sit with you. So one day he was having lunch. I sit with him for like half an hour. We just talk. Because it's the talk to understand wealth creation, the way they do it. You know one thing to tell us, we talk about managing your debt. Did you know that wealthy people are not afraid of debt? Did you know that? They teach us to avoid debt. Wealthy people will get debt that can create value, that can generate income. They don't get debt to consume. Take your credit card to buy things to consume. But they use debt because what's the most popular word? Use other people's money. What does that mean? That's debt. You use other people's money. Instead of using your assets, something happened, you lose everything. But I'm using your money, something happened, my assets, right? So I'm taking a loan to buy a 50-unit property. You have a debt on it, but when the building appreciates, you can take money out, you pay that debt to the point, right? And then you create more wealth, more income. Here's one thing I like, and it's a disclaimer. Many of us, we say we're so proud to be debt-free. This mentality, change it. What kind of debt do I want to create? Because certain big investment, you got to take a debt for it. They won't give it to you if you don't have good credit, number one. Or sometimes they have to look at your net worth. What do you have as collateral they can take? But at the same time, that debt is to generate income. Most of these people who are wealthy, they have a lot of real estate debt. They own big properties. If they buy a shopping plaza, they don't always have all the cash to come up with it. They have some money to put down. They have a debt. A bank finance it. You know how many times Elon Musk take a debt on his assets? He never really sell them. Because there's a tax advantage because he paid that tax free. That's the way to avoid paying tax on his stocks. Then you can use my stocks as collateral or small interest I pay on it, but I take a loan to fund something. He didn't, when he paid for Twitter, you think he'd go ahead and pay cash? He didn't. That's a debt on his assets. He's not cashing in because he let it grow. He's generating wealth off of it by taking. So there's different things. It's a mindset. Rich people have a mindset that if we have it. How about when you said, okay, I'm debt free, my house is paid debt free, like we pay the house. Do you know rich people, and watch this carefully, they don't like to sit on cash. Is your house worth $300,000? It's paid off. They cannot sit on a pile of cash. They will take it and buy a 20, 30 unit property with it. They will take half of that money as a line of credit. They invest it. They make that money earning money versus they sit. But the mentality to tell us to say, oh yeah, let's pay off our house. And you pay it off, but you sit in a pile of cash. Here's the thing. You said that you have homestead on it. It's safe. It's never safe. Do you know if they put a lien on your house, even though the house is paid cash, you got all these cash, they can put a lien for the full amount. And then you can't, when you sell it, they take all that money. Do you know that? They can take all that money. They wipe it out, your whole home. Even there's homestead, but they can put a lien on it. They can't take it from you, but if you're able to sell it or we finally do something, they're going to get paid. So rich people don't keep the cash for people to mess with. They take it, invest it, do things, and then they use that money to pay off that thing on their house again. But they make that money working. So that's what I'm saying. Mindset is very important to know how to create wealth. But sometimes they teach us the poor people mindset. So we stay poor and we're afraid of debt. I'm not saying for you to go have debt. Remember this. Because you're going to live here and say, I said, oh yeah, go have debt. What I'm saying is no good debt, with debt that can create value versus consume. A lot of us, we consume because we're impulsive. We just go buy things we can't afford. And the credit card bill is 30% interest. And then we have debt we can't afford. What do you use it for? Do you use it for to pay bills? Or do you use it for to create income, extra stream of income, to build wealth? And that's what I want to close today with you, to let you know. Understand your network. Understand that. And start making new connection. And start thinking about changing your mindset about finance. See, I didn't spend a lot of time talking about numbers, because it's not just numbers, it's the mindset, all right? I want to thank you today for coming out. Thank you today for coming out. I hope you get something today, all right? We'll have questions later. We're going to be